We're going to learn about neural tube formation, which is one of the processes that occurs in neurulation. Now, neurulation is a process that happens after gastrulation. So, just as a reminder, that once gastrulation is complete, there are three germ layers that are formed in triploblasts. They are the ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm. After gastrulation, the embryo will undergo the process of neurulation, and the embryo that is in such a stage of neurulation is called as a neurula. Now, neurulation is the process that results in determining the fate of the ectoderm. So, the ectoderm can form the epidermis, which is the skin that covers our body. It can also form the neural plate, and the neural plate will form the neural tube, which gives rise to the central nervous system. And finally, the ectoderm can form the neural crest, and the neural crest will generate the peripheral nervous system as well as pigmented cells called melanocytes. Now, when we look at the ectoderm fates, they seem to be twined with BMP levels. So, as I said, the ectoderm can form the epidermis, which is the skin. And in those cases, the BMP levels are normally high in the regions that will become the epidermis. Now, when we look at another fate of the ectoderm is it can form the neural crest, which forms the parasympathetic nervous system. And in this case, the ectoderm, when it has BMP levels that are moderate, tend to form the neural crest cells. Finally, the neural plate can also be formed by the ectoderm, which forms ultimately a neural tube. And this is normally generated when there are low levels of BMP. Neural tube formation is one of the main processes that occurs in neurulation. As shown in the figure, the neural tube is a hollow tube-like structure that is formed, and there are three different ways by which it can form. The first mechanism of neurulation is called as primary neurulation, and this occurs in the anterior part or the rostral part of the neural tube. The second mechanism is called secondary neurulation, and this occurs in the posterior end of the neural tube or the caudal part of the neural tube. The third mechanism is called as junctional neurulation, and junctional neurulation occurs at the boundaries of primary and secondary neurulation, so it is usually observed somewhere in the middle of the neural tube. To summarize, we learned about the process of neurulation and the fates of the ectoderm in relation to BMP levels. We also looked at different mechanisms by which a neural tube could be formed.